Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. Today we will learn the types of contract on the basis of performance. Till now we have learned that types of contract on the basis of enforceability like valid, void, voidable, illegal, unenforceable, and according to formation like express contract, implied contracts, and quasi contracts. So till now what we have done is how contract has formed, how it is enforceable, and now it's time for actual performance of the contract. Now how the contract will be performed. So on that basis, contracts are classified in two main sections, that is executed contract and executory contract. And again, executory contract can be classified as unilateral contract and bilateral contract. So let's move forward and see what they actually mean. So first comes executed contract. Let's see the meaning. A contract where all the parties to the contract have performed their respective obligations. So a contract where both the parties have done their part, whatever they need to do, they have done it, then it is executed. You will understand better by seeing the example. Suppose A sell his car to B for rupees 1 lakh. So in this case, A has to sell the car and B has to pay the money. So if A delivered the car and B paid the money, then everything is done. Nothing is left to be done now. So that is an executed contract. Okay. So in executed contract, all the parties perform their respective obligations. Nothing remain. I have marked it with the red. Nothing remain to be done by the parties under such contract. They have done whatever they need to do. So executed contract are fully performed contract. Okay, nothing remains. Everyone has done whatever they want to do. So generally most of the sales transactions are executed contract, because in generally sales transaction you deliver the item and you receive the payment. That's it. So executed contract, nothing remained, fully performed. Okay, so now executory contract. A contract in which the parties to the contract have still to perform their obligations. Means the parties have not performed their obligations, they still have to perform their obligations. So those contracts are executory contract. Now it can be that both the parties have to perform their obligation, or it can be like one party has done its part but the other party has still to perform their obligation. So let's take an earlier example of A and B. A was a dealer of cars and B came to his showroom and asked to buy a car. So B make the payment immediately to buy a car, but A said to B that this model is not right now available in the showroom, so we will deliver it to you next Monday. So in this case, B has already done his obligation, but A still has to deliver the car. So this will be an executory contract, because one party has still to do its performance. So where at least one party has still to do its performance is known as executory contract. When A will also deliver the car to the B, it will be then executed contract, because where both the parties have done their part. So till the time when one party still has to make their performance, it is called executory contract. Generally in exams they ask like lease contracts. What are they? Are they executed contracts or are they executory contract? So the lease contracts are executory contract, because in lease you have to pay the monthly lease payments till the end of the lease period or till the item is fully paid off, depending on the contract. So the one party still has to make the payments. The one party is still doing his obligations. So that's why lease contracts are always executory contract till the leases are paid off. So now let's move on. Okay, so now let's see bilateral contract. Bilateral contract are the contract in which both the parties exchange a promise and the obligation of both the parties are outstanding at the time of formation of the contract. So where both the parties promise to do something, Like if A is selling a car, B is promising to give him the money. So both the parties exchange a promise. But at the time of formation of the contract, both the parties' obligations are outstanding. Suppose if A says to B, I'll sell my car to B, and B says, okay, I'll pay rupees 1 lakh. But A say, I will deliver the car next week, and B say, I will also make the payment next week. So in this case, both the parties exchange a promise, and both the parties' obligation is outstanding when the contract is made, because both will make the performance by the end of the week. So in bilateral contract, the important thing is both parties make a promise and both parties' obligations are outstanding. So each party is both a promiser and the promisee. Bilateral contracts are also called contract with executory consideration. Why? Because in this case, the obligation is pending, and we have learned the definition of executory contract where the party's obligation is still pending. So in this case, both the parties' obligations are pending. Those are bilateral contract with executory consideration. So unilateral contract, they are also known as one-sided contract. Why? Because in such contracts, one party has done its performance at the time the contract was made or before the contract was made, and now it's only about the second party that who has to make a performance. So two parties, one has already done its performance, the other party has to do its performance. Okay, the best example for unilateral contracts are generally the rewards examples and the insurance contracts. I'll explain you. Okay, so let's see an example. Mr. A lost his dog. So he places an advertisement in the newspaper that whoever bring his dog, he will pay him rupees 5,000. See, there are two things in this example. Mr. A, he lost his dog. So he make an offer that he will pay rupees 5,000 to someone who bring his dog. So by making this reward, by giving this reward, he's not making any kind of contract, because no other person is bound to accept this contract. You are not bound that you have to go and you have to search his dog. It all depends on you. Do you want to or do you not want to? So right now there is no contract at all. But the unilateral contract becomes active when someone there, suppose Mr. B, he finds his dog. So when the act is done, there comes a unilateral contract between the B and the A, because Mr. A has already made a promise that he will pay rupees 5,000 to someone who will bring the dog. So his part was done when the contract was made. His promise was there that he will pay. So when someone brings the dog back, he has to pay that money because he is bound by his own promise. So this is the unilateral contract. Now see the second point. By offering this reward, he is not making a unilateral contract, but once his desired task is performed, his offer to make a contract becomes a unilateral contract. Okay, so no one is specifically responsible to find this dog. So generally no one is responsible. There is no liability on the other party that he has to find a dog. But if he did find a dog, he do it, then the contract comes into existence. The unilateral contract comes into existence. There are two other notes. See, proposer, that is in this case Mr. A is not liable until his desired act or task is not performed. So he don't have to make a payment till the task is not done. And second thing, the proposer, Mr. A has the right to withdraw his proposal at any time prior to performance, and he has a right, he can take out the advertisement, he can take back the advertisement, but before someone bring the dogs, after that he is bound, because there comes a unilateral contract. So before someone find the dog, he can withdraw his offer. So the another example for the unilateral contract can be the insurance contract, because the insurance company promise that they will pay the insured person a specific amount of money in case certain event happens. So if the event does not happen, the company will not pay. But in case the event happen, the insured person can make the insured person has the right to ask the money from the insurance company, because there was a unilateral contract. So the basic difference between the bilateral and unilateral contract is number of parties. In bilateral, there is a mutual promise. Both the parties make the promise and both the parties' performance is outstanding. In unilateral contract, generally one party make a promise and one party performance is pending. So I hope you understand the executory, bilateral and unilateral contracts. If you like the video, please like it and subscribe my channel. If you have any comment, if you have any query, please leave a comment on the comment section. See you in my next video.